Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. So today we are going to learn about selection screen and ABAP report. We will be discussing various screen elements here. And before that, let's quickly check what we learned in the last video. We developed a simple ABAP program where we just wrote some write statement and printed some values like text symbol, system time. And let's check the output of this program now activated and executed. So this is how our output was coming, and now let's go back and go to the change mode. And before we go to change mode, let me take you back one step back and make you understand how and what is exactly the selection screen looks like. So if you open the SE38 transaction again, SE38, so this is what the selection screen you can assume as of now. So if you see there is a label, there is a text field, there is a button you will see, and there are multiple radio buttons. Similarly, there are another button like display and change. And similarly, you will get to see here the application toolbar where you have different buttons like execute, activate, debugging, variants, delete, copy, and many more. So this is a good example of a selection screen elements in a web report. So this is itself a you can say a web program. So if you go to system status and you will see the web program name here, something like this. So now let's go to the change mode and see some of the screen elements that is mentioned here, like blank line, parameter, select option, push button, radio buttons, comment, lines with multiple element blocks, and many more. So now let's start and see how it looks. So first of all, we will be creating some parameters. For example, parameter statement you can use, and then you can enter your parameter name like p underscore para one, you can say, and you can then give type. And let's, for example, take char, and I will give it like char 10, for example, and then you can put a point here. Similarly, now you can even copy it and now create multiple parameters as well like this, and you can change it now, for example this, and even for instead of this you can use some your data elements directly that you created through SE11. So let me check the syntax. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Let me activate it. So now we will be executing it and see how these parameters looks on the output screen. So let's quickly see and click on a fit button or execute it. So this is how the parameters will be looking like in a selection screen. Parameter 1, 2, 3. You can even give it a name as per your requirement. For example, you can go to the text element here and then selection text tab, and then you can give a name here. Like for example, I'm giving parameter 1. Similarly, you can give it here parameter 2, and then you can give it a here like a parameter 3, and then you can save it and activate it. Now if you execute your report, you will be seeing the exact name there, 123. This is how your parameter looks like, parameter screen element. Now let's talk about the skip selection screen element. For example, the blank line, if we want to put in between blank lines, so for that you need to write something like this: selection screen skip. For example, we want to skip 3 lines, so you can give it here, or we can copy it again and then we can write it here, for example. So let's suppose here I want to just skip 1 line. So now do the syntax check and activate it. So now you in the selection screen output, you will be seeing p param 1, then 3 line space, then p param 2, and then 1 line space or blank line you can say, and then third parameter. So let's quickly click on output, and this is how your output look like 3 space 1 2 3, and then next parameter, and then again 1 space, and then again your next parameter. So this is how the parameters and selection skip screen element looks like. Now let's quickly talk about the select option. Select option, for that you can write here like select, and then you can do even control space, and here you will get select option here. Then you can write select option name, for example so underscore I am giving it name, for example. And then for this you need to provide some kind of reference here. For example, if you have any table reference available, you can pass it here. For example, let me take an example of PA 0001. So before that you need to initialize it at the top, for example like this table, and then that you can use it further in your report, for example here. And if I press control space, I must get some value. So like for example e name, you can select it, it will refer to the name. Let's do the syntax check, and you can even you should do pretty printer, and then save it. And let me double click on that whether it's a correct data element or not. So yeah, PA0001 is a table, ename is the data element, and it's the data type is char 40. Right? So let's try to activate it, and then we will be seeing it in an output. Now let's execute it. So select option look like this. For example, this is an interval, and even it's an F4, so you can enter all the values here. We will be discussing that in detail later. So even, and if you just don't want any interval kind of thing here, so you can enter here, for example, no interval, like this. You can select it. Now the only it will look like now the parameter thing only. You can activate it and see the output. So here you will now get the only single editable field, and you can click on it and you can pass the multiple value here itself rather than interval. Now let's go back and see what are the other uh, parameters available here. Like you can mention lowercase, you can provide help requests, you can even make it obligatory, so that whenever your selection screen comes up, that field needs to be put mandatory. For example, if I select obligatory here and I activate it, and now I will execute it, so you will see some kind of tick sign here. That means it is mandatory, you cannot move further. For example, if I want to execute it, it will throw you an error like fill out all required entry fields. So this is what obligatory is used. So as of now we can remove it and activate it. So similarly there are other screen elements like push button there. So for creating a push button, for example, let's put some space here so that you can understand it well. And then you can use push button. So for that you can write selection screen push button, and then you can provide its position and then in bracket its length, like how long it will gonna be. So and then you can pass the text here. For example, 005, I will be creating a new text here, and then you need to provide user command and then any any name that you will be using later on your report. For example, disp, you can choose anything. It's a custom one, so you can give it anything. And then let's try to do some syntax checking. It is fine. And before that, let's create some text symbol for text 005 here. Now double click on it. It will take you to the screen. And okay, it's a create. Do you want to create the object? Yes, we want to create. So it will take you directly to this screen. So now you can enter here like a display, provide it, save it. Okay, what is saying? Text 005 old text 005. Yes. Okay, it's some length issue, so you can extend it, like give it a 10, and then you can provide your length element name again, or just hit enter, then it will allow display. Okay, now I save it, activate it. Now go back, and now you will be ready to use it. Now let's try to activate it. So you will get your first push button on the output screen. Now execute it. So this is how your display button looks like, similar to SC38 that we saw earlier. So similarly, you can create other buttons as well using this only. So selection screen, push button. Now let me give it some another length, for example 15 I'm giving, and then again we will be creating some other text symbol here, and then we will be giving it a user command different, like example print something, and we can pass the skip here, for example, so that you will see in different line. And let's try to do some syntax checking and go to the text element here. And before that we need to activate it, and now go to text element. You will see, or before that, or either you can directly click on double click it will take you to the text element only. So or even you can pass it directly here, like 006 print form you can example, or print report you can mention. Hopefully it will cater. And before yeah, it is accepting. Save it, activate it, go back, activate now your report, and now check the output. Yeah, so it is pretty much displaying good here. Now let's go back and see what are the other screen elements we have. So for example, we have some selection screen, begin of block. We have like begin of block you can create, so that your particular elements will be coming in a particular group only. Selection begin of block, then you can put here like selection screen end of block, so that will complete your one block. And then you can do syntax checking here and try to activate it, and now you can check the output. So this is how your particular output will look like in a block. And even you can provide selection screen kind of some text frames, and like for example some text you can check. For example, you can do control space here with frame, and then you can mention text title here. You can provide any text here, for example text example 001 I'm passing, and you can do syntax check and try to activate it, and let's see how the output looks like. Yeah, so this is some kind of block you have now. Display print report button for, and for example you can change or provide any other text elements here as well. For example, let me give it a block 1, save it, activate it, and then you can consume it in your report. For example, I am passing it back again 7, do syntax check, do activate it, and now let's check the output effect you can do, and then yeah, block 1 is updated here. Now let's quickly see another screen element, for example radio button. So for radio button, if you are creating, you can create like this parameters. You can select parameters, and then you can give a p underscore rb1, for example, and then radio button group you need to pass, and then grp. Suppose I'm passing example here grp1, and then similarly you can create another radio button here as well, p underscore rb2 radio button group going to be similar. For example, you are creating some radio button like some gender like male and female, and you want to group that. So for that you will be providing the single group name. We will be seeing it in detail. Let's see first. Let me quickly write it down. Then you can pass it group 1, and before that let's quickly do the syntax check, and you can even make it a default one. For that yeah, default you can select it, so that by default this radio button will be selected on the output. Now let's activate it, and now let's see what we have. An error statement will default ended unexpectedly. Okay, Let's see what we have done. Default and then space. You can select and let's try to do this. And now let's check syntax check. Activated. Yeah, it's activated. And then you can try to execute it. So this time your radio button T underscore RB1 is selected. Now let's go back and just remove this statement from here and pass it here. So by default now radio button 2 will be auto selected. Now before that activated and now executed. So see, the radio button 2 is now selected. So this is how the radio button looks like. And now let's see the selection screen element comment. For example, so before that, let's try to use selection screen element big enough line here. Selection screen big enough line you can mention, for example, and then below that you can pass selection screen and a line. And also you can separate these two radio buttons in different lines. For example, let me quickly copy this and then write it here, and then what you can do, you can remove it from here and then you can remove it this line from here. So what we have basically done, we have written two radio buttons in a separate line. For example, P underscore RB1 in group R1, GRP1, and then P underscore RB2, which we have made a default line. So let's quickly see the output and try to activate it. So this is how the output will look like. So let me quickly take you back because we haven't given any text here, so you will be seeing like it as a blank here, for example. So for that, let's put some text here with the radio button. For that you can pass the, or you can utilize the comment screen element, for example, selection screen comment, and then you can pass the position and length again. For example, I'm passing 1010 and then I'm passing something like this, text underscore 00, and we have utilized till 7, so let's take it 008, and then you can pass it same again here, selection screen, and here we will be using the element 009. Let's save it, do some syntax checking and try to activate it. And before that, let's quickly create some text element 008 and 009 here. Either you can double click on that or you can directly go to the text element button here, click on it and pass it here 008, and you can pass 009 as well, and then you can enter like a radio button, or you can mention RB1, radio button 1, and then again you can mention here radio button 2. Now let's try to save it and activate it and go back. Now activate it again, and now we will be seeing our comment screen element in the selection screen output. Click on activate and execute it. So this is how your comment screen element will look like with the radio button. So we have given you few many spaces, so let's reduce that. So let's try to give it 5 here and here as well, and try to activate it. And now let's see the output. This should come, yeah, it is now has less space, and you can select it here like this. So yeah friends, this is how your selection screen elements looks like, and I hope you like this video. Please stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Thank you.